Do you remember any of the White House press conferences that I held during my tenure? Most looked like this.
I mean, that's the silliest thing I've ever heard. Okay, this is silly. Okay, next. Okay, thank you. You've asked your question. Thank you.
Does that not diminish the language that you're using?
Go ahead.
I mean, there was little professionalism, respect for your colleague, decorum. Reporters just jumped all over their colleagues, shouting questions, looking to make a headline, have a viral moment, maybe get a clip that they could share on social media. No one cared. But apparently in the Biden White House, decorum for a reporter, well, it's now a must. The White House press office has issued a formal warning to reporter Simon Ateba, stating that if his behavior doesn't change at the briefings, they're going to yank his press credentials that allow him to access the White House and cover the administration. Now, I want to be clear. I didn't appreciate the interruptions during my time at the White House. I didn't think they were okay when Sarah Sanders or Kayleigh McEnany were at the podium, and I don't think they're okay now. You got it? Little consistency for you. But times have changed. During the Trump administration, it was a badge of honor for these reporters to make a spectacle. People like April Ryan and Playboy's Brian Karem got cable contracts at CNN after their interruptions and obnoxious behaviors went viral. Now, Ateba, the journalist from Today's News Africa, is upset that Karine Jean-Pierre, the White House press secretary, won't call on him, so he makes every attempt to get recognized. It's been months since Karine has called on him. I mean, let's face it, even if she did call on him or any other reporter, it's not like she has anything to add or even comes close to answering or responding to a question. But since Ateba doesn't get recognized by her, he yells out, and she in turn admonishes him from the podium. She even ended one briefing early because he demanded to be called on. Now, she put him on notice in a letter, making it clear that if his behavior doesn't change, they're going to pull his White House press pass. In her letter to him, it states in part, the White House recognizes that members of the press often raise their voices or shout questions at press briefings or events. Ordinarily, such shouting stops when a reporter is called on for a question and the briefing or event is able to continue. Continued interruptions are different. They prevent journalists from asking questions or administration officials and guests from responding. So let me just interject real quick before the letter goes on. That's not true. It's not how it works, or at least it didn't during my time, and there was no concern about stepping on another reporter. But the letter continues. If you, this letter to Ateba, continue to impede briefings or events by shouting over your colleagues who have been called on for a question, even after you've been asked to stop by a White House employee, then your hard pass may be suspended or revoked following notice and an opportunity to respond. Now, following notice and opportunity to respond, key line, let me get to it for a minute. But I do want to note that you do realize in that letter, she says, if the government tells you to be quiet, then silence, comrade. Understood? What do you think this is? America with some kind of First Amendment? Silly you. I mean, that's what she says, right? If you're a White House employee and you tell a reporter to stop talking, they need to stop talking. But here's where the big difference comes into play from the Trump administration to the Biden administration. During my time and throughout the Trump administration, the other reporters in the White House Correspondents Association stood by. They did nothing. They defended their rude professional colleagues. In fact, they argued that they couldn't do anything, and this was just part of the process. This was part of their First Amendment right. During the Biden administration, though, they stood by and defended not their colleagues, but the White House, not the First Amendment that they so quickly and normally will wrap themselves around. This time, hey, White House, we're with you. The letter that Ateba was sent is apparently a first under a new set of rules that Karine Jean-Pierre and her press office have established. The new rules include this: respecting your colleagues, White House employees, and guests, and not impeding events or briefings on campus. Now, you get that? You have to respect those folks in the White House. They're in charge. I don't know about you, but the White House Correspondents Association used to oppose things like this. I guess, though, in pursuit of attacking Trump and anyone who works for him, respecting your colleagues really wasn't a priority for the White House Correspondents Association. Now, by the way, The White House Correspondents Association used to renew as membership anyone who was there. They're now apparently pulling Simon Oteba's membership, citing repeated instances where your behavior violated the expectations for membership. Did they ever threaten to pull Jim Acosta, Brian Karams, any of them? Nope, never. That behavior, that was okay. During the Trump administration, though, you might remember there were 2 lawsuits after they banned CNN reporter Jim Acosta and Playboy's correspondent Brian Karem. Judges, though, ruled that the White House had violated Acosta and Karem's due process rights because they didn't have a written set of guidelines under which a journalist could be denied. See, that gets back to the letter that she sent. They wanted to send a letter establishing new rules and saying you violate them. It's a huge setup. They want to ban reporters they don't like and banish anyone else into submission. I'll say it again. I've never appreciated the unprofessional and disrespectful behavior of some reporters. But the double standard between the last administration and this one, it's unreal. Well, if you enjoyed this video, click the like button, subscribe, and ring the bell to make sure that you never miss another video.